Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. It is week 18 of the NFL season, the final week of the regular season. I want to give a big shout out to each and every one of our viewers who won some money in their fantasy football leagues, and a big shout out to anybody whose commissioner is at fault for making them play a fantasy football championship in week 18. There's a lot of craziness going on in the world of fantasy sports in week 18. Obviously, we have teams resting starters. We have teams fighting for playoff spots. We have teams fighting for, pride, like my Washington Commanders. There's a lot on the line, and I want to give a big shout out, obviously, to anybody's team who is fighting for a playoff spot, who already clinched a playoff spot, or who is locked in to get a top draft pick. Without further ado, I am going to bring in the man, the myth, the legend, the host of the greatest football show on Mondays, the Giant Overreaction, here on Awthentik and The Beard, the man himself, Mr. Authentic. Welcome, sir.
What's poppin'?
How are you, my guy?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Watched that Tank Davis fight last night. Got the 8th round knockout, or a technical knockout. That was an interesting fight because there was a fight in the crowd in the 7th round. I predicted a 7th round knockout. And shout out to Wallow. I heard he was in the building. I heard Meek Mill was in the building too, man. That fight was here down in D.C. at Capital One Arena, man. So I don't know if we'll be seeing too many more of those the way that one went down.
I heard there was a lot of Garcia Pack being taken care of in the stands.
It was. And I forget the homie's first name, but the dude who fought Tank, Garcia, he put up a good fight, man. He was there throughout the whole fight, man. It was a pretty even fight throughout, man. And Tank that's what Tank do, man. He just wait till his opponent get a little bit tired, and then here comes the onslaught, man. Hit him with a couple of left hooks, man. Right hook dropped him. And then dude said he couldn't see. He said from the punch, he was blind, bro. So great fight to watch, man. It was good to see some boxing. I feel like it's been a minute since there was some boxing. And to have some football games during the day was pretty good too, man. Patrick Mahomes is there a level above GOAT? Is there something higher than GOAT? Because that dude is just different, man. That dude is different.
It's literally just going to be called the Mahomes tier now. I think that's what
we talked about that on Thursday. I like how Max Kellerman got that pyramid going on. Like, the top quarterback should be in a class of his own. And I think that's the case with Patrick Mahomes, man. Some of those plays, man, and just the precision, the way that he runs that offense. Every time he makes a throw, it seems like somebody's wide open. It's not like a whole bunch of tight windows. They seem like they're really getting into a flow now going into the playoffs. For me, that's my Super Bowl front runner right now as far as the AFC, because there's another team in the NFC that's got a little bit of a bid there that I'm going to be rooting for, and I think they got a good shot too.
It's interesting because, I can only really speak for this on my end, obviously, but it's interesting when you get to watch a Chiefs game like solo, right? Because, a lot of times, for me, I'm either watching the Commanders or I'm watching, Red Zone, unless like the Chiefs are playing on a primetime game. When you get to sit there and you watch the Chiefs in solo mode, it really just makes me look at my offense like it's so elementary. Yep. Like it's just, and it's not even just like the complexity of it. It's just the smoothness in which it's ran, the way that it's ran, everything about that offense is just like, there's so many moving parts. There's so many people that contribute. Watson had like a 64-yard catch on the first drive, they're using 4 tight ends. It feels like at times.
Yeah, you talk about like throwing to nobody, like, dog, I don't follow the Chiefs, like that. But these guys catch the ball. I'm like, who is that? I know they got Juju. Shout out to Kadarius Toney too. Kadarius Toney found his way in the end zone. That little, they did like I saw, I think it was NYG Crush who tweeted this out. It was like a ring around the Rosie in the huddle. I don't know if you saw that play with Kadarius Toney that got called back.
Oh, I saw that one. Yes.
So they were all in the huddle. They literally, like a wheel, were just running in a circle with all their arms over each other's shoulders, just running in a circle so that the defense wouldn't know where people were coming out of the huddle. Hurried up to the line after that, literally just looked like a fidget spinner, and then they just hurry up to the line. They run this awesome play to Kadarius Toney. there was unfortunately I think it was either like a block in the back or a holding penalty, so that called it back. Andy Reid is a gangster though. He was like, Kadarius, we're gonna get you in the end zone. He ran a play right after a jet sweep right to him, got Kadarius in the end zone. And one thing I'm noticing, right, is like people look for the debate on Twitter so much. Like,
oh my God.
You can't tweet out, oh man, Kadarius Toney's doing something dope without a Giants fan being like, oh well, we got two draft picks for him though, so I don't give a shit. It's like, come on, man. Like, I'm rooting for that guy,
crazy.
Man.
So crazy. And you know, I saw another one where somebody said, does Kadarius Toney's success have any effect on Brian Daboll's winning coach of the year?
I saw that too.
Like, what?
I get the sentiment of it, but it's like Kadarius Toney's success. You know what's wild though is like over here in New York, we want to throw away the stat lines, right? That's the whole thing. It's like our quarterback has 15 touchdowns and we want to throw away the stat lines. But when somebody says something like that, oh, it's like, oh, well, Kadarius Toney only has under 20 catches on the year and da. But his impact when he is healthy, it has been made, you know? And Andy Reid is finding a way.
He's a weapon.
Like, let's just stop faking like Kadarius Toney is not a weapon. Let's just,
he's a weapon.
That's what we just need to stop faking like. He's a weapon. Yeah. Whether he's got 100 catches or he's got 5. People treating that man like he's Kenny Galladay out here, and it's good to see him getting in the end zone. I think that was his 3rd touchdown of the season. So that's one less than our leading wide receivers on the New York Giants have. So for me, it's like two things can be right. Obviously, we might be a better team without Kadarius Toney because of what was happening in the locker room, his health issues, obviously all that. But for me, that's not a reason to not root for a young kid to try to, you know, get some touchdowns and get some receptions under his belt.
Yeah, I think the name of that play was called the Snow Globe, is what they called it.
That's what they called it. The one where they were in the huddle.
Yeah. So they I think the players came up with that play and they ran it at practice, and Andy Reid was like, wait a second, I like this. And they implemented it into the game. So it's kind of crazy. But yeah,
it was dope.
That game,
I loved it, man.
That game was interesting. I think Jarrett Stidham might have a shot at being a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Come on.
He might.
We can't do that. We can't do that. We need more of a sample size.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Can't Matt Flynn him. We did that talk.
Yeah, no.
Right.
We're not going to Matt Flynn him, but I'm just saying, like, I see some things that I kind of like in him. I think he throws a good ball. I think he moves well in and out of the pocket. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to be done. And then it's also a little bit goes in his favor because he's been in that Josh McDaniels system since he's been in the league. So
and that's the funny part. Now that you say that, it kind of jogged my memory on him a little bit. But he does have a decent sample size. I think he's got a decent skill set. I like him as a runner a little bit, not like as a designed runner, but like when things go kind of, you know, off script and whatnot, he can find a way to kind of make some plays with his legs. But I think if we're going to say that, then we also got to say the same thing about Joshua Dobbs with the Tennessee Titans, because he had a pretty good game too. I mean, there were a couple mistakes there, that play where I don't know if that was a 3rd down or whatever, where homie just chucked the ball back like 15. What were they doing on that? I was kind of half watching, but I'm like, what's going on here? I know there was a penalty for illegal forward pass or whatnot because he did pass the line of scrimmage, but I think if we're going to say that about Stidham, we can say that about Dobbs. Can we say it about Heineke then? If you want to pull those two guys, can we say it about Heineke?
No. Heineke's like 37 years old, man, and you know, like
me and you are 58.
I feel like I'm 58 the way my back is acting up today after that pulled muscle.
But you about to be 39 this year. It's approaching, so you're getting there. You know, somebody told me when you turn 40, the bones kind of creak a little different, and I ain't gonna front. I'm starting to feel that, man. Like I woke up today, man, stepped out the bed, that knee, the tenderness on that right knee. I'm like, man, I got to get out here, bro. I haven't ran in a really long time here, dog. Like, I really got to get out here and start getting a little active.
I will tell you, though, my tier 3 quarterback is AFC champion, South champion. So shout out to Trevor Lawrence. That is a crazy turnaround to go from.
He didn't look like a tier 3 quarterback yesterday.
He didn't. He I mean, that touchdown pass he missed in the end zone was a bad one, but he had some good throws.
His toss on the fumble, you know,
so
got a little too cute, try to swag the toss like.
It was an interesting game from him. The defense obviously stepped up on that forced fumble for a touchdown to basically win the game.
A lot of people was talking about that and saying that's a forward pass. I didn't get a chance to look at the replays in depth, but a lot of people were saying his arm was moving forward.
So for me, when he got hit, the ball started to rotate in his hand as he was pulling back the pass. So even though the ball went forward and his arm went forward, the ball was moving as before his arm actually went forward, which in case made it a fumble. So it was the right call.
Yeah, I got to take a look at that one. A lot of people on my Twitter timeline I saw were, people rooting for Tennessee, obviously, were a little bit distraught about that, saying that it looked like the arm was moving forward. And it's weird. They tend to give quarterbacks the benefit of the doubt with that. Like, I mean, a centimeter of that arm coming forward or that shoulder, they'll usually give it to you. But I got to go back and take a look at that. But nonetheless, I think the better team won in that game. It's good to see the Jaguars go on win that division because Tennessee was kind of falling apart a good bit there. And, it just things ain't really going their way. To me, they would have been a team that would have, if they would have gotten to the first round, they would have had a home loss right off the bat. Struggling at the quarterback position, a lot of people thought Malik Willis would be the guy to be getting a start here down the stretch. And then, Derrick Henry just really wasn't enough. Their wide receiver core, man, that wide receiver core needs work, bro. And Robert Woods on punt return, I think that's pretty suspect, too. I don't know. I feel like you could get somebody a little bit more dynamic. But nonetheless, they got great coaching over there. They're always in the mix, but they got to make a move here, man. I don't know if Ryan Tannehill will be a Titan next year. We'll see what goes down with the quarterback position over there.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason for Tennessee indeed. Obviously, they're going to have to, do a lot of work with Malik Willis. He's still a project, but he's got that raw talent, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, Derrick Henry is still Derrick Henry. He's just a machine. I mean, that guy – I was surprised on a couple of occasions they didn't hand the ball off to him, and they decided to pass it, which was kind of curious to me.
And they were converting doing that. They had a couple of fourth downs in that game that surprised me. I remember there was the one little out route on the left side of the field. And I'm looking at the Jaguars. First off, shout out to my homie Camber one time, man.
Yes.
Camber hit me up right before the game. He's like, bro, I'm so nervous. He's a Jaguars fan. He's been a Jaguars fan through all the garbage, all the turmoil, all the, what's my man, Urban Meyer. The Jaguars are proof that coaching 1,000% makes a huge difference in the NFL. A lot of people were talking about the New York Giants had one of the worst coaching situations with Joe Judge. But when you look at what's going on from the Jacksonville Jaguars standpoint, that is night and day. That team was probably the worst football team in the league last year. One of them, I'll say, top 3 worst team in the league. You come out here, you get new coaching. Shout out to Doug Peterson, who I think is also a Coach of the Year candidate as well, along with Brian Dable, and kind of got forced out of Philadelphia. People still blaming this whole Nate Sudfeld situation on him. When I told you this when it happened, he came out on the Rich Eisen show and talked about that. He didn't really say, hey, that wasn't my decision, but he said that wasn't my decision. So, they probably jumped the gun on Doug Peterson and all that. Even me, I was a part of this as well. Saying the Super Bowl run had a lot to do, which it did, but we were kind of giving a little bit too much credit to Frank Reich. And look at what's going on, Frank Reich. I mean, he got fired from the Colts and they hired Jeff Saturday in place of him. So you never know what's going on in football unless you could possibly be a fly on the wall in these front offices. You really never know. So I think that to speculate in an egregious fashion and kind of act like we know what's really going on when we don't is probably not the move.
Yeah, definitely not. And big shout out to yesterday's winners, Kansas City Chiefs and Jacksonville Jaguars, both winning their Saturday matchups. Everybody in the chat right now, you are winning. Big shout out to everybody watching us right now here on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and of course, right here, right now on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. We appreciate all the love and all the support. We're going to go ahead and say a couple of quick shout outs, and then we're going to get into some playoff scenarios in today's matchups, as well as some of cheat sheets as far as today's games. If anybody is playing any daily fantasy sports, DraftKings and FanDuel. If you have any fantasy questions or betting questions, make sure you guys drop those in the chat so we can answer them as we move along. Big shout out to my guy, our guy, Coach Taylor. J-Mo is in the building. Says my Cowboys.
You can't see it, but I was first today.
Oh, big shout out to Awthentik. He was first in the building.
Big shout out to Awthentik.
I saw you in there with the blacked out screen when I was in there early this morning putting together the banners and so I figured
that was just leftover from last night. I forgot to close out the window. Man, I was getting when the covers be feeling extra bomb, dog. I was getting that kind of sleep this morning, man. I did not want to get out to bed, but I was just like, man, we gotta do what we gotta do, gotta show up. Got to do the Marshawn Lynch vibes one time, but, man, I was some incredible sleep. After that fight, I took one of those late night showers, like 2 in the morning, got into bed. Ain't nothing like a late night shower in some good pajamas, dog. I'm telling you.
No.
Like, that's the vibe right there. Passed out real nice. Kept the heat down kind of low. You know what I'm saying? Instead of Q-tips.
Q-tips. Nice, good shower, Q-tip, comfy pants, bed. Got something to watch on TV. Game over.
People
Game
still be talking
over.
about the Q-tip is like a bad thing, but I'll be.
Hey.
I'm ruining them eardrums, and these is the money makers, so that's probably not a good vibe.
Most bad things feel good. Let's just be perfectly honest. Big shout out to Simon. We appreciate you jumping in today. Yes, it does appear that Jalen Hurts will be starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles in today's matchup against the New York Football Giants. Big shout out to Gregory holding it down, one of our resident Dallas Cowboy fans in the building. Big shout out to Kevin, the PRF, in the mix as well. Appreciate you. Another big shout out to the Beige Boy, who has now changed his profile picture to the beige. Shout out to the Beige Boy. Says, what's up, y'all? Beard, we need you on the O-line today. Got to protect the future. HTTC.
The future. I like that. I like that.
For those of you that don't know, I actually started out my career as a football player at the center position. So I do know how to do a little.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. Started out as Wheaton Boys Club Pony League A. So, like the high-end boy league, I was
I
center.
just want you to know we was better than y'all in the CYO. If we would have saw any one of those Wheaton Boys Club teams, you tell Patrick, too, we would have dogged y'all.
I mean, shout out to Awthentic for digging up the authentic St. Catharines Franco Harris reference picture
like that, right?
and putting it on Twitter.
Big
shout out, man.
That
was dope to see, man. That was dope to see. Big shout out to Marjorie in the building, always dropping the Marge bombs. I am right there with you. I cannot believe we are in week 18. It's kind of crazy.
The season really just flew by, man. It just really flew by.
Big shout out to Kalen Dragon.
56 in the building. Look at that profile picture, man. That looked like that's the kind of profile picture like I'm about to take over the world type vibes. I woke up earlier than everybody because I'm about to get to the worm type of vibes. Look at that sky, man. Shout out Kalen one time, man.
I love it. Love it. Big shout out to Edward Squires in the building. Sorry to see the last game of the regular season, but glad we will be playing in the postseason. Can't say that for me, but congratulations to all the Giants fans here at Awthentic and The Beard.
That's got nothing. Left side right there.
Yeah,
big shout out.
Big shout out. It is. Jared Williams in the building, holding it down. Jared? Appreciate you for joining us as always. Our guy checking in worldwide, Lucas, all the way from Australia. Appreciate you. As always, dropping by and showing
Does
some
Lucas
love.
Got a new profile pic too, or am I tripping?
I think you're tripping. Pretty sure that's been the vibes.
Yeah, okay, that's what's up, man. Big shout out, Lucas. Y'all know what it is, man. Day one, gang in the building.
This is a new profile pic, though. Big shout out to Kai 001, one of our resident Cowboy fans.
Shout out to Kai one time. Look, we was chopping it up on Twitter about Davis Webb getting a start. He was like, all right, man, well, I guess my Dallas Cowboys need to pack their bags because we're not getting this one. I thought that was hilarious, yo. Big shout out to Kai, man.
Big shout out to Lax044. Says, my championship was last week. My opponent and me decided to split the pot, and I walked away with 800.
That's a good vibe right there. Yeah. Guarantee 8. Look, which one would you take? If the opponent comes to you and says, dog, I'll split it right now, it don't even matter. You taking the 800 or you going for the whole bag?
It depends on what my roster look like.
I knew we was going to get a political answer out of this dude, man. It's too, dog. I'm taking that 800, dog. What was it?
I've done it both ways before. So I have split. Yeah, I have split before, and I have been like, I'm gonna let this one play out. Sorry, I need some extra money. Them fantasy championship checks come in at the best time. So big shout out to fantasy football championship checks. Big shout out to James Jones in the building. Appreciate you as always joining us.
James. What up, man?
C-Bands never stay lagging 45. New York Giants are in the playoffs. Man, you guys are hyped.
It's a vibe, man. And we got a little, it's like a preseason finale today. We gonna see how this go down.
Big shout out to Sebastian. Appreciate you as always. Our guy holding us down long time. Bluegrass Picker is in the building. Appreciate you, my guy. Bookend Tackles is rocking with us as well. Thank you for joining
it really
us.
Didn't settle in for me, yo. Like, it's the last show for you. It's the last show for you and your Commanders, pretty much.
Oh,
right?
don't worry, man.
Recap Tuesday. We get a recap Tuesday.
Yeah, Chris Peace sent me. He's gonna send me a custom blue Washington Commanders hat. So
I'm telling you, you got all. You the vintage guy, right? It would be a complete vibe if you showed up for the rest of the season in vintage gear that is representing your team, but players that once played for the New York Giants, like a Washington Landon Collins jersey. You know what I'm saying? Like a Antonio Pierce, LeVar Arrington. I'm sure you could even do like a Santana Moss, kind of show some love to Senoris Moss. There's so many different vibes you could do, bro. I'm sure there's more players I'm missing, but yeah, that would definitely be, for the Cowboys fans, you could do, didn't Deion finish out his career with Washington? Like, didn't he have like 1 year with them or something like that?
Yeah, he did play here.
See, that would be a vibe, bro. That would be a vibe right there.
You guys are pushing it. Big shout out to our guy Simon.
I don't understand what pushing it. It's your team, bro.
No, it is. It works. It works. I unfortunately don't have
Chris Cooley. He's sitting on the couch with the rest of them jokers.
Low blow number one of the show. Shout out.
I'm just being realistic here.
Shout out to Simon for the $10 super chat. Says, here's a portion of money I am about to win from being my fantasy football champion.
Hey,
we had a 2-week playoff. I did that last year. Matches, and this week 2 of the ship. I am up by 50 points from last week, and I'm calling it a wrap. RTDB.
I like
Congratulations
that. Simon showed
to
up
Simon.
early. We was chopping it up in the chat yesterday night, and he said the same thing. He said RTDB, man. Big shout out to Simon, man. Appreciate the super chat. Definitely goes a long way, my guy. And congratulations, man. You know what? What is it? We don't want to count the chickens before the eggs hatch, but 50 points, that should be all right.
Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good for you. Big shout out to Sebastian for the $4.99 super chat. Says, shout out to the Fantasy Advice Goats. Took the W for my league this year, and that pot was sweet. Bragging rights on my Haitian cousins is the best.
Let's go. Let's go.
Indeed,
that's my guy right there.
indeed.
Like I said, man.
Big shout out to make sure I thought I saw one more. Give me one more second. The chat done did it. Don Welf says W podcast. We
Hey,
appreciate
salute, man.
that.
Salute,
We
man.
appreciate
Welcome to the
that
family.
as always. Matt is in the building. Says Stidham next Commanders quarterback confirmed.
Y'all can't make a move like that, yo. Y'all
Nah.
need a major move.
We
Derek
gotta-
Carr. Derek Carr's the floor. I was talking with Ben Ballou, and he was like, I don't want Derek Carr. I was like, man, look, y'all in quarterback hell right now, man. You would take Derek Carr. He's a good quarterback.
We are in quarterback purgatory. It's just you have to be very calculated in the direction that you end up deciding to go with this offseason. But we got a couple of months to talk about that. It's going to be a fun time.
I would try to do a major trade up to get you a rookie. I'm talking RG3 vibes again, dog. Give up a couple of picks. Go get you a quarterback, man. There's at least 3 of them in this draft.
It just depends. I mean, I don't know if there's I got to wait and see after this week when the actual draft board comes out and see like who can be in a position that doesn't necessarily need a quarterback. I mean, I guess Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago's definitely a vibe. And what are they, like the number 2 pick right now, right?
Yeah,
I want to say.
yeah. I think they're number 2.
Yeah, they're number 2. Seattle, possibly Seattle. They got.
I think
number
Seattle
3.
goes with a quarterback.
You think so? With Geno playing the way he's been playing?
Yeah, because I mean,
don't think so.
how old is Geno?
Geno's probably 30.
I always think he's older than.
He's 32. He's 32.
32.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they
you go with
draft-
Geno for a couple more years. Arizona,
Possibly. Arizona is definitely a trade situation.
Yeah, they got the 4th pick right now. They're not going quarterback. Detroit got the 6th pick. They might not go quarterback. I mean, there's a possibility, but I wouldn't. Jared Goff's playing great football. You know, Atlanta, they're at number 8. Possibility, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm
Indianapolis,
trading up,
where
dog.
they?
Give me that number 2, that number 3, that number 4. Seattle would 1,000% trade out of that for the right trade right now.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting draft to say the least. OG Knockout in the building. What's going on, OG? Appreciate you
What's poppin', fam?
stopping by. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Big shout out to you. Fabian is in the building. And our very own Marjorie dropping Marge Bombs for 18 weeks straight for the $50 super chat. Says, love you guys and appreciate all your hard work in giving us the best show not on TV.
That's major.
We would not be able to do it without you and everybody else in the chat. Always keeping us up to date.
If we ever get the real bag, Marjorie, you plan to pack your bags. We're going to get you a nice job. But I'm not saying you ain't got a nice job right now, but we're going to get you a nice, easy job to just drop a couple of bombs on Sundays for Awthentik and The Beard one time. We definitely appreciate you and your hard work. You always giving us all that great waiver wire news and all the injury updates and whatnot from the family and on the chat on the sideline one time. We definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much for that.
Big shout out to Fabian for the $2 super chat. Says, good morning, guys. Sunday here. Did Washington make it?
They made it back to the crib.
Oh, you
the
know
roadmap.
What, man?
That's what you got to do on Tuesday, the roadmap back to the crib.
This is how we got to the couch. Carson Wentz, 2 interceptions. Taylor Heineke,
wait.
2 fumbles.
How many
Ty.
How many interceptions?
3 interceptions.
Thank you. Thank you. Correction.
You know, Taylor Heineke, 2
I
fumbles.
threw an interception too.
Danny Dimes says Davis Webb season.
Yes, sir. I thought his name, I thought his profile name said Davis Webb season for a second.
That's the
Danny
way
Dimes
that those
season
are right
one time.
underneath of each other.
Yeah, right.
It'll do it to you.
DW. I like that. We got to give Davis Webb a little nickname. That's DW in the building one time.
D-dubs.
Listen, I tweeted out, man, you never know. Might get a dub. Jalen Hurts come out a little, rusty one time. Davis Webb looked kind of good in the preseason. Knows how to operate this offense.
We're going to see. Maybe there's some chemistry there. Obviously, the wide receivers, some of those guys he probably has a lot of practice with. So it's going to be an interesting game. I just hope if anybody in the chat here has any insight on the Giants running back situation for today, if it's going to be more of a Brightwell or a Breida situation, please let me know because I have Breida plugged in a couple of DraftKings lineups, so that would definitely be helpful for some inside information from my Giants brothers and sisters here at Awthentik and The Beard. Big shout out to Ligma. Says start Dak Prescott or Jared Goff and Broncos defense or Jets defense. So
Broncos
for me,
defense or Jets defense.
I like the Broncos defense. I don't know how much of a like what your hole is, and if this is for DFS or if this is for season long, but I do like the Broncos defense. They're going up against the Chargers, who are one of the teams I believe that are completely resting all of their starters. So that might be a good opportunity for the Broncos defense. The Jets have, what's the Jets matchup again? Is that my
Jets playing the Dolphins? Yeah.
Jets are playing the Dolphins.
Yep.
So yeah, I bet. The Dolphins are playing for something.
Exactly.
That's the big
Jets
thing.
Defense is going to get tested a little bit today.
Yeah.
I think you go Broncos. I mean, with Chargers
Broncos
resting starters. Who is the backup over there? I don't even know.
For the Chargers?
Yeah.
Isn't it Chase Daniels?
I don't know. I just told you. I don't know. Chase Daniels still in the league? That's ridiculous.
Chase Daniels been taking care of. If it's not Chase Daniels, it might be.
Chase Daniels been taking bags from people. That's what he been doing. He ain't been taking care of no business.
He is the perfect backup quarterback. He's been the guy. I mean, that guy, how much money do you think he's made?
I'd say a hot 20 mil.
I think it's got to be more than that. Probably like 50.
Chase Daniels, 50 mil. That dude, he's not that great. There you go. And
I think I start Jared Goff. I don't know.
I mean, that's a big game. I go Goff.
That's outdoors though.
Yeah, but
Jared
Dak
Goff plays better.
With going up against the Washington Commanders, that could be a game where Dak Prescott in the fourth quarter is like just chilling, not even playing, and they're running the rock, just trying to kill the clock.
Very true. So I would probably lean towards more Jared Goff, but I wouldn't be upset if you decide to play Dak. I think the big thing that Awthentik brought up though is, does he play all 4 quarters? That's
Chase Daniels 41 mil in his whole entire career. He got the biggest bag from the Philadelphia Eagles, man. Crazy. In 2 seasons, he made 11 mil with them. That's ridiculous.
Speak of the devil, we were talking about this young man earlier today, Mark
congrats
Kolkowski.
on that fantasy championship, my dude. I was just saying, like, every fantasy league I've ever played in, I swear you win it. You win the chip every time. So, you know where I stay. You not too far. You about to hop, skip, and jump across North Capitol, man. If you want to come loan me some of them fantasy chips, man, you can pull up at any point in time, brother. But congrats on the victory, my guy.
Big shout out to our guy, Mark Kolkowski, who actually came away with the championship in the one league that Awthentik and I playing together. Oh, I did forget. Don't let me forget to tell this to everybody. I have to thank you all, and I have to thank Awthentik for helping me. I did win my other fantasy championship. The streak continues, so I am a championship
winner.
winner.
Didn't I give you bad advice on like Njoku or something?
You did, but listen, you were there for me for 18 weeks of the season. So big shout out to you guys. I appreciate you. Because a lot of times, for those of you that don't know, a lot of times when we do the parlay, by the time we get off of the air, we've talked about so many different players, so many different scenarios that it's a lot of information that's helpful without you even asking. Like you just kind of, you don't even think about you. There's no way you can put everything into your thoughts and your thinking process as you're going through your lineups. So like to talk these things through with the chat and with Awthentik definitely helps. So I changed my lineup on multiple occasions throughout the season and it became beneficial more than once. So big shout out to the chat. Big shout out to Awthentik.
It's backfired on me a couple times as well too. You kind of get to overthinking it because you're like, dang, somebody just presented a good point about like just like the tight end situation that you had with Njoku and I believe it was the dude from the Tennessee Titans, right? Okwanku, I think.
No, it was between Njoku and Cole Kmet.
And Cole Kmet, right? And then we turn on the game and Cole Kmet scores a touchdown in the first quarter. You're like, damn. Yeah. And then Njoku gets one reception. But like we weighed in some options. We thought, that Njoku would be the guy. So sometimes it can backfire. But all in all, at least you're getting the proper information presented to you at first to be able to make that decision.
Exactly. And big shout out to Lax044 for the $9.99 super chat. Says, I was down in the championship game 31 points with Josh Allen and T. Higgins still to play, and he was done. So we split instead of waiting for the NFL's decision on the game. Oh, that makes perfect sense.
The person you're going up against is a good dude. Because, we were just talking about that. I had Josh Allen on my team. I wasn't in the championship, but I was down like 30 points or something like that. And I was just trying to consider if I was in the championship, I had Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Joe Mixon that would have been in that game down 30. I mean, that's pretty much a guaranteed 30. And imagine losing like that. So shout out to the opponent you were going up against, man, to come to that decision. That's awesome. I know a lot of fantasy leagues were dealing with that this past week and whatnot.
Yeah, it'll be it's interesting to see how all of that evolved, and obviously, there's been some decisions made on how things are gonna move forward as far as possible playoff situations with home field and if certain teams make it to the AFC Championship, they'll be the neutral site. So there's a lot of interesting scenarios still to come moving forward. Big shout out to Texas boy holding it down for the Cowboys. Hey, listen.
Hey.
Tuesday. If we win, make sure you show up on Tuesday. Because if we lose, I still have to show up on Tuesday, just so everybody knows. Okay. So I hope to see you on Tuesday, Texas boy.
You know Texas boy here. Rain or shine, win or lose, Texas boy pulling up. He ain't one of them people that's going to be scared. But, I mean, I'm just going to say it. The Dallas Cowboys are not going to lose today.
We'll see. Big shout out to La Mamba James. Always love this name.
Shout out La Mamba one time.
Awthentik, what do you think about resting players against the Eagles?
I mean, I thought it would have been a little beneficial to let the first string team get some snaps at least, especially offensively. I would like to see Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley out there, try to keep this quick pass attack, keep the momentum going up. But I don't feel really one way or the other about it. It's all good. I trust this coaching staff. They know what's best for this team, and a little bit of rest, I'm sure, can't hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? They've already kind of locked in on this offense. And I was talking to a couple of homies on Twitter about this. Like, it took a long time for this offense to really get moving and really get clicking, especially with the passing attack. And we've been seeing that now here in late December, early January. And I just hope that this isn't something that will, slow that process down and slow that progress down, more importantly. But I trust them. I'm sure Daniel Jones, I'm sure Saquon Barkley especially could use a little bit of rest there, man. The shoulder was giving him some issues, and we're going to need him. I promise you're going to see one of the strongest efforts from Saquon Barkley in this playoff game.
I mean, I'm not tripping. This is his first playoffs, right?
Yeah. The Giants, come on, bro. 2018, ooh, it's been ugly. We definitely ain't been in no playoffs since Saquon been here.
Big shout out to Saquon Barkley.
Not even close.
Yeah, remember, I was right, because now I think about it. He had this week one, after your guys' week one victory, was the first time he had ever played in the NFL with a winning record.
Right.
So big shout out to Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon Barkley is one of those guys where no matter what team you root for, you kind of want to see Saquon Barkley do good as a player. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like he comes off as a straight, good guy, hardworking football player. The way he bounced back from the injury, he's a guy that it's hard not to root for. And not to mention, if you like watching football, some of the things you've seen Saquon Barkley do on the football field, it's just, as a football fan, your natural reaction is, wow. So
and I think if Saquon can, it seems like he kind of cut down on his weight a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a smaller running back this year. So you're not really seeing those power type of plays that he was doing in 2018. But I think he'll bulk back up, because I feel like he's got the strength in that knee underneath him. Like, for real now, he's going to be confident in that. I think he'll bulk up a little bit more to kind of get a little bit more of that power, speed, balance back a little bit. But this is the one thing I've noticed about Saquon through his entire Giants tenure. So certain people, when you get on your grind and you're great like that, it's almost like a blur. Like, you're just going through the motions, right? And then you look up in 5 years and go, man, I'm a 2-3-time Pro Bowler. I've had rushed over 1,000 yards this many times, blah, 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 blah. Saquon Barkley's the kind of guy that I think he's conscious as it's going down that he's writing his history. And that's why I say the statement about the playoffs. He knows what's on the line here. This is the biggest moment for him as a football player in his entire career, dating all the way back to when he put the pads on in Pee Wee. And now you're in the NFL and you got a big spot game with you and a quarterback that was drafted a year after you. We're going to see a ultimate effort from Saquon Barkley. I promise that. And from probably from all the players. I mean, I'm not doubting anybody's effort.
Yeah.
But I know that Saquon's a guy that's very conscious of that.
Hungry. So hungry. So big shout out.
You're writing the history and you're looking at the pen at the same time. That's why he said that thing at the beginning of the season. Like, when I bounce back, y'all stay on that side. And he's used that as a chip on his shoulder throughout the whole entire year. And now look at it. He's got his career high as far as rushing yards go. He's going to rest today, so he won't get to break his career high as far as touchdowns go. But nonetheless, a fantastic season from Saquon.
Yeah, and I think, it's a nice little bye week, for the Giants.
Yep.
Definitely nice little bye week. Big shout out to the Extra PT podcast. Says, good morning, gents. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well.
Facts. Happy New Year, fam.
Excuse me. Interesting stat right here from Marjorie. Eagles will become the first team in NFL history with 4 players 25 years old or younger, each with 8+ touchdowns from scrimmage in the same season, if Devonta Smith scores a touchdown today versus the Giants.
Are you going to take the over-under on that?
Devonta Smith scores a touchdown.
I'm going to take the under.
No touchdown.
Love that kid, though. He's a baller. He's one that I'm like, man, we missed out. That kid could have been a Giant, man. Thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Philly.
Big shout out to our guy, always holding us down every single time on Facebook, James
Facts.
Funk. We appreciate you, James Funk.
All
right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna tell you guys some quick information regarding some of the games here, as far as who has been noted to rest their players this week, and so forth. Just in case anybody is playing daily fantasy sports, whether it be DraftKings, FanDuel, or if you have a Week 18 fantasy championship matchup. This is courtesy of Graham Barfield on Twitter. If you guys aren't following Graham Barfield, definitely give him a follow. Definitely one of the guys you want to be following when it comes to fantasy football. So just quickly, it's going to kind of broken into a couple of different scenarios. So you have your teams that are resting starters. You have your teams that are full goes. You have your teams that's kind of like, we don't really know. They might be having their starters play, but we don't know for how long. Then we have like teams that are definitely out of the playoffs, but aren't necessarily trying to tank for like a better draft pick position that kind of might play spoiler. And then you have just the teams that are dead in the water, and you don't really know what to expect for them. So there's only 3 games where each team is going to be playing their starters and are actually playing for something. That's the Packers-Lions matchup, which is tonight. Then you have the Ravens and Bengals and Bills and Patriots. So teams that are resting their starters are going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, will not be playing their starters. You have the New York Giants, who will not be playing their starters, and you have the Los Angeles Chargers, who will not be playing their starters. And big shout out to Marjorie right here to kind of tap in to where we are at right now in the show. It says Week 18 starting quarterbacks include Baltimore will be starting Anthony Brown. Tyrod Taylor will not be playing. Chicago will not be playing Justin Fields. Nathan Peterman will be starting. So whoever is playing Chicago, you probably want to play that defense, because we know about Nathan Peterman's interception situation.
Nathan Peterman and Chase Daniels, dog. I'm about to try to go get me a backup job.
Big shout out to Washington. Sam Howell will be starting. Miami is starting Skylar Thompson. The Giants are starting Davis Webb. Arizona, David Blau. And Indianapolis will be starting Sam Ehlinger. So that kind of takes care of most of the murky situations, obviously. The Falcons, you don't really know where we're going to be with them, although Tyler Algier is definitely a guy to kind of look for to play in that game, obviously. The Saints should be playing most of their starters, same with the Panthers and the Texans. The Cardinals obviously will not have, some of their starters in. But teams that are definitely playing their guys are going to be, obviously, Steelers. They're still fighting for something. Bills, Bengals, Patriots. The Ravens now you can kind of take off that list. I'm a little surprised at where they're going with that, considering that could help them in the long run. Seahawks, Eagles, 49ers, Cowboys, Packers, and Lions. So don't forget, there's an opportunity on a lot of these guys to get some low-cost players in your DraftKings and FanDuel lineups, but definitely something you have to monitor as we get closer to kickoff. Now, as far as playoff scenarios go, we're going to go ahead right into playoff scenarios, and then we're going to pick the games. So these are the Week 18 playoff scenarios. For the AFC, the New England Patriots are 8-8. They can clinch a playoff berth with a win. If they win, they are in. If they lose, they will need Miami and Pittsburgh to lose in order to get into the playoffs. The Miami Dolphins need to win and have New England lose in order for them to get into the playoffs. That is the only scenario for the Miami Dolphins. So Miami Dolphins could only get in the playoffs if they win and the New England Patriots lose. Next up is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need the most help in the AFC to get that last playoff spot. They need to win, and they need Miami and New England to lose in order to make the playoffs. So they are all fighting for that one playoff spot. Now, the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles can clinch home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs with a win or a Dallas and San Francisco loss. Philadelphia can clinch the NFC East with a win or a Dallas loss. San Francisco 49ers clinch home field advantage if they win and Philadelphia loses. The Dallas Cowboys can clinch home field advantage, which sounds crazy, if they win, Philadelphia and San Francisco loses. Dallas wins the NFC East if they win and Philly loses. Now, on to the wild card. Seattle Seahawks will take that last wild card if they win and Green Bay loses. Green Bay will take home the wild card if they win. Detroit takes home the wild card if they win and Seattle loses. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Week 18 playoff scenario. So, some of these teams are going to get in. Some of these teams are not. So basically, you have one wild card spot open in both conferences. And then you have some scenarios for home field advantage and for the conference title in the NFC East.
So who you got, man? Let's start with the AFC. Who you think's going to get that last seed?
AFC.
Patriots, Dolphins, or Steelers?
So I think I gotta go with, I want Pittsburgh to win, obviously, because we want Mike Tomlin to go. So I think they win. I think New England loses. I think the Dolphins end up getting the last playoff spot. Dolphins or Steelers. That's where I'm going to go with that one.
I'm going to go, let's see. I'm with you. I want to root for the Steelers as well, too, going up against the Browns today.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can win that game, but then to rely on the rest of those teams to lose is going to be extremely tough.
I don't think New England has a shot at Buffalo today.
Yeah.
There's just too much emotion.
I think that might actually help New England.
It's possible. It is possible.
I'm actually leaning towards them. I'm going to go with the Patriots. I think the Patriots get the 7th seed.
I think Patriots get the last
I think
spot.
so. I'm rooting for a little bit of both here. So Steelers will win, but the Patriots will win too.
So, okay. NFC. Who do you think takes home the last spot in the wild card there?
I got a feeling. So with the Rams, Baker Mayfield's going to play today, right?
As far as we know, Baker Mayfield is playing. Let me just make sure that
I think Baker's going to play spoiler today.
Like Baker's going to play. Yeah.
I got it coming down to that last Sunday night game, Packers-Lions. That's going to be amazing to watch football all day, and then that 7th seed is going to come down to the absolute last game in Week 18. Give me the Packers.
Yeah, and listen, I think everybody kind of wants to see the Lions in the playoffs. But kudos to both of these teams. The Lions and the Packers were dead in the water.
Yeah.
And, to be here basically fighting, going against each other head-to-head, that game should be fairly good. But I think, for me, it's tough to pick Aaron Rodgers to lose at home in basically a playoff game.
You know what's wild is the Packers have had a playoff game for like 8 weeks straight.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the last time they lost because, the winning streak, I know it's been a grip here. Their last loss came against the Lions. That's crazy.
And what week was that?
Their last loss came against the Lions on November 6th. Nope, I take that back. They had one loss during this streak. The Tennessee Titans beat them. After the Packers beat the Cowboys, the Titans beat them, and now the Packers have won 6 straight games. So they've won, 7 of their last 8 games, man.
Yeah,
that's
just
like another run that I know.
Oh, yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I wasn't going to go quite that far down south. I was going to take it to your Taylor Heineke-led Washington Commanders. It was like 6 or 7?
No, it was like
5 or 6?
5, 6.
Was that one game off 6 or 7?
Eventually.
But then I don't know. They just randomly decided to start this other dude, Carson. I don't get it.
Eventually, the carriage turns into a pumpkin, my guy.
I got all summer to just. This is gonna be great. I got all spring and all summer to talk about that blunder from Ron Rivera. Before we move on, you think Ron Rivera's gonna get fired here coming up?
No.
You don't think so? Okay.
I do think that they have to make a move, though.
A move on what?
See, this is the problem. They're in the middle of switching owners.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you fire them?
They got to make a move on the owner first.
Exactly. They have to make the move.
Whoever he sells the teams to, right? That's they're the new boss.
Yeah.
So you're telling me whoever got the biggest bag is the new boss now.
Basically.
That's fun. What happened to all this Jay-Z Amazon talk? Any of that stuff still going on?
I mean, they're in the mix. There's a lot of people in the mix, man.
It sounds like no new information on that.
No, there's no new information. They're in the mix, man. They're waiting, but I think there was the initial deadline where bids had to be put in, but I don't think the bids were public. So we don't know exactly who made bids or not. But yeah. I think the asking price, man, I don't want to blunder this, but I think the asking price was $8 billion.
It's a lot of money.
I mean,
that's a lot of money.
It's just there's a lot of interesting scenarios that we're gonna have to wait and see.
Quick questions from the Extra PT podcast. What do you think about this? with a little bit of
No,
time
he
to
knew.
digest it.
He knew.
I hate how you don't leave not even an inkling of anything. Oh, he knew. Why do you know?
Because it's 2022.
Proof wise. I mean, like, what's the?
Oh, I don't have
proof that he knows.
He came out and said that. But he could say whatever he wants to say.
This Ron Rivera up there on the podium right now. I knew. I'm telling you, I knew. It's 2022, man. It's not 2022 actually anymore. It's 2023. That's how you know he didn't know. You like that, right?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
You like that, right? And why a pig? You want me to answer these questions, man? There's a pig. No, the hogs, man.
Yeah, I know why. It's because of the hogs, but I don't understand. It's just another debacle under the belt. That's all.
They got to do something about the what's his name? Tuddy. The name could be kind of tight. But they always give those mascots those really weird, lighthearted names. It's always what's the elf? Brownie? Is he Brownie the elf? Yes. I went back to the elf on the graphics because you said you liked it, but I think that thing is awful.
They didn't even make him they made him look like a washed up mascot.
He did. He looked like, let me tell you what he looked like. Do you remember? So there was a split show back in the day, cartoon show. It was like it was Tiny Toons, right? But half of the show was like these like miniature Looney Tune characters on a farm. And it was led by a pig. His name was like Orson or something like that.
Like
remember that?
Animal Farm?
I don't know. I don't remember what it was called, but it was definitely Looney Tunes characters, right? And it was like the little baby versions on the farm. So it was a 30-minute show. 15 minutes of it was like Tiny Toons, right? The other half of it was like this other show where they were on a farm, and the main pig, he was real smart. He was a nerd. I don't know if you remember this. This is back in the day vibes.
And he had a name that
started with a O. One of my OGs in the chat should know this. If you was born in the 80s, early 80s, you should know this. And I think his name was like, I want to say it was like Orson. He was like Orson or something like that. But that's what he looked like because he was real heavy up top and he had real skinny legs. And that's what y'all Tuddy looks like.
His shirt doesn't even fit.
It's bad.
It's like Ezekiel Elliott crop top, basically.
They made him look like you got to make the mascot look a little bit more aggressive. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
He has to. It's just.
It's not Porky, Mr. Mini Guy. Good try, though. That's a good try. It's a good try, man. It was, I can see now I got to hit Google a little bit because I got to figure this out a little bit.
Shout out to everybody who's watching right now. We got 65 people in the building. We appreciate all the love and all the support. His name was Orson Pig.
Was it Orson?
That's what Extra PT Podcast says.
I think it was Orson. It was when you say something like in your head it sounded right, but then you say it out loud and it don't sound right. Orson don't sound right. It just don't sound right. It's not Animaniacs either, Beige Boy, because Animaniacs was what were they? We don't even know what the Animaniacs were. They're like half cat, half
mouse.
I don't know what they was. I don't know what they were. They weren't mice. They were like half cats, like half maybe like
I feel like they were mice
or something.
They were mice, half mice, man.
Half mice. Their stomachs were white. Now it's a gender neutral piggy. That's what happens week 18 when you're playing some meaningless football. You get to talk about old school cartoons and whatnot.
Oh, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. We're going to go through rapid fire really quick. Give everybody an opportunity to, in the chat, as we go through these games, make sure you guys let us know who you think is going to win, who you think is going to lose, over unders and the spreads. The show is called U.S. Acres. Says
that
Extra
sounds right.
PT
Who
Podcast.
said that? Who said that?
Extra PT Podcast.
You would go for that. That's exactly what it was. You would go for that right there. U.S. Acres. Yup. And the main pig was this little. He used to carry around a little journal, and he was just like this little nerdy dude, And they had the rooster was on that joint too. The rooster with the real Southern accent. He talked like this. Kind of talked like
Foghorn. Foghorn, I think his name was.
Yeah, you go in the right direction. You close. Yeah, that's exactly what the show was. He was like the he oversaw the farm. He was like the OG on the farm. He was like the authentic of the farm. You know what I'm saying? Straight OG vibes. But that's it. U.S. Acres. Shout out to the PT podcast one time.
And shout out to the graphics department because this is the final season, week 18, regular season finale.
Yes, it is.
After this, we will be moving into straight playoff mode and straight New York Giants mode until
the graphics department is going to need some emails off the late night too. They hit me up this morning like, hey, we were waiting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the first game on the slate, speaking of Brownie the Elf, it is the Cleveland Elves. 7-9.
What is that thing doing with a football in his hand?
They're headed to Pittsburgh to face the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 8-8. Mike Tomlin is trying to continue his streak of winning seasons. The Steelers are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 40. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers because I want to see Mike Tomlin continue this streak. Another team that was dead in the water and never gave up. You know, new quarterback, just a whole bunch going on there. So shout out to the Steelers. I will take the under 40, though. That seems extremely high for this game.
Browns just put up 24 on y'all head last week. I really want the Steelers to win this game. My gut wants to pick Cleveland, but I'm on air. I'm going to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to say this will be a close game. I'm going to say 24-23 Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me the over in this one.
All right. Up next, beat drop. The Baltimore Ravens are 10-6. They're headed to Cincinnati to face the Bengals. The Bengals are 9-point favorites. The over-under is 39.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Baltimore will be starting Anthony Brown, and Gus the Bus will be at running back. No J.K. Dobbins in this game. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to take the Bengals to cover the 9 points, and I'm going to take the over 39.5.
This game could get ugly. I'm going the opposite direction here. I'm going to take the Bengals for the win, but I don't think they cover, and I'm going to take the under 39.5. I think this one's going to be a close one. We'll see.
I mean, it is a rivalry game. There is some stuff, obviously, here on the line. So this should be a fun game to watch. Up next is going to be the Minnesota Vikings, who are 12-4. They are 7-point favorites. They are headed to Chicago, who those Bears are 3-13. There is no Justin Fields. You get Nathan Peterman. The over-under is 42.5. I'm going to take the Vikings. I think Justin Jefferson is trying to get the receiving record in this game, I believe, for most yards in a season, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings minus the 7. I'm going to take the under 42.5. I don't think Chicago scores a point in this game.
A point in this game. Let me see. This will probably be like a good 28-10, maybe. Something like that. Yeah. So I'm going to take the under as well. I got the Vikings in this one, man. They're trying to, get that higher seed and whatnot. I'll take the Vikings in this one, man. And best of luck to Justin Jefferson in this game as well.
Shout out to Mr. Mini Guy says Nathan Peterman, Bears 50-0 shutout. Up next is going to be the New England Patriots, who are 8-8. They're headed up to Buffalo to face the Bills, who are 12-3. The Bills are 7.5-point favorites. Over-under in this game is 43.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic. Do you see an upset here?
This is tough, man. This one's tough. I'm going to call the upset. Yep, I'm going Patriots. This looks like a 4th of July graphic right here. Shout out to the graphics department one time. Give me the Patriots in this one outright. I know, right? This is the real blue, though. All that, whatever they got going on. I don't know what's going on over there. But, yeah, give me the Patriots in this one, man. And I'll take the under 43.5.
I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to cover, and I'm going to take the under 43.5 as well. Up next, playoffs on the line. The New York Jets are 7-9. They are headed to Miami. I think Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback in this game. Joe Flacco against Skylar Thompson, Week 18. Sounds fun. The Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is a disgusting 37 points. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell me what you got, Authentic.
You remember that quarterback that played for the Jets a couple weeks back? I forget, he was wearing number 15. They were running a lot of read option with him.
That's Skylar Thompson, I think.
That's Skylar Thompson?
Yeah.
I thought you said he's starting from Miami.
Oh. Okay. So then, no, it's
His name was like Stetson or something like that, his last name. But the reason why I bring him up, and I wanted to bring this up earlier, is I think a lot of teams need to look at that model for the backup quarterback position, because even what Brian Dable is doing with Daniel Jones, even though Daniel Jones is extremely capable of throwing the football, when you bring in these backup quarterbacks, I almost think you got a better chance at winning games if you just run a lot of read option and got a guy who's actually got some wheels that can run the ball. These Chase Daniels type of backup quarterbacks, to me, that's a thing of the past. We got to find a way to bring guys in that are possibly going to win, even if you got to design a game plan around them. This game's going to be tough. It's unfortunate for the Dolphins because they were a good team all year long. They got the best wide receiver duo in the entire NFL. The only other team that's probably going to end the year with two 1,000-yard wide receivers. I can't take them in this game, though. I think the Jets defense shows up. I think they're going to win this game. Give me the Jets in this one. And as far as the 37, I'm going to take the under on that.
I'm also going to take the under, but I think Miami wins this game. I think they find a way. Don't ask me how. Maybe defensively. Maybe they get some defensive touchdowns in this game. It'll be interesting to see how Joe Flacco does. The quarterback, I forget his name, but he's been moved back down to the practice squad, I guess.
Yeah. I went to go look him up, and I couldn't even find it. Like, I looked for the box scores in their last 5 games, and I didn't even see any stats from him. But, man, dude was running all over the field, dog. And he was sloppy. You know, the way that he played, you could tell he wasn't really ready for the moment.
It was the rain game.
Gave him a chance.
It was the rain game when Zach Wilson just came back, and they were booing him after each incompletion. Yeah. I forget what game that was, but it's starting to all come back to me now. But, yeah, Joe Flacco, who somehow is still playing football in the National Football League, is in the game.
Joe Flacco, all right, man. Joe Flacco repping for them OGs one time, man. He all right one time. He just don't want to take no hits. But Gregory said the Jets averaged 6 points a game over the last 3 games. That's wild right there. That's wild. That's
tough. That is very tough. Up next is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who finally got it all together and won that division. They are 8-8. They are headed to Hotlanta. The Buccaneers are going to be resting their starters, so the Falcons are 4-point favorites, and the over-under in this game is 40. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I guess Blaine Gabbert or Kyle Trask, one of those two guys, is going to be the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You was talking about Trask the other day. Bucks going to have to do something at quarterback in the offseason. Give me the Falcons in this one, man. I think they'll take care of this one. You never know with backups on the field what's going to happen with the points.
It's either going to be 13-10 or 45-41.
I'll go out on a limb and take over that 40 one time, but I got the Falcons winning this one.
I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons to also win. I'm going to take the under until further notice. Up next, speaking of the NFC South, the Carolina Panthers, who are 6-10.
The
Carolina Panthers are headed to Nolans to face the Saints, who are 7-9. The Saints are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is 41.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
Taking the Saints, man. Played a bunch of close games this year, man. You know, they upset the Eagles this past week and whatnot. Andy Dalton, bro, you know, I saw it's funny because the graphic was actually off, but it was about the highest passer ratings in the NFL in games this season. And Andy Dalton was up there, and your boy Marcus Mariota was up there with our quarterback, Daniel Jones. Very surprising. But Andy Dalton has played some pretty clean football, man. You know, he's taking care of the football, not turning it over. They're not no juggernaut of an offense, but I feel like they can do a couple of things, score some points. Give me the Saints in this one. They'll cover the 3.5. And I'm going to go just under the 41.5.
Oh, man. What do you think Carolina does with Sam Darnold next year? You think he starts again?
I don't think he might have an opportunity to start, but I'd say by week 6, he's probably not going to be the starter. But, man, Ben McAdoo over there, they did some things. I think Sam Darnold has 7 touchdowns, 1 interception since he's came back in the lineup. Sam Darnold, man, He's a decent quarterback, man. You know, if you're a Sam Darnold fan, you would hope that he could put it all together, kind of like what happened with Daniel Jones this year. You would just hope that he could get the right coach. You know, I don't know what they're going to do. I've been hearing speculation that they're going to move on from Wilkes as the head coach over there, which is strange because he's really kept Carolina in the mix this whole entire year when people thought that they should be in tank mode. Here they were just last week playing for a shot to try to win the division. So I don't know what's going to happen with them. I think Sam Darnold probably deserves a shot. It's very eerily similar to the Daniel Jones story, except he's bounced around a couple of teams here. But injuries have been a problem with Sam Darnold his whole entire career. Can't stay on the field. He's got to find a way to stay on the field. When he's on the field, he plays decent football. We talk about this a lot over here at Awthentik and The Beard. There are quarterbacks who are franchise quarterbacks, and then there are quarterbacks who need running backs and a running game to be able to succeed in this league. I think Sam Darnold's one of those guys. If you can get him a good rushing attack like the Carolina Panthers have over there, he could probably be a serviceable quarterback. So we'll see. I think he'll get an opportunity depending on what happens with the head coach position over there with Carolina.
Big shout out. I think Carolina covers, but I'm going to take the Saints to win. I think this game actually does go over the 41.5. This one will probably be a little bit more interesting than I think most people will give it credit for. Up next, though, ooh, man, this is an ugly one. The Houston Texans, who are 2-13-1.
It's a pretty graphic. I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
Clean, very clean.
Very clean graphic. I'm a big fan of the Texans logo. Big fan of that logo.
Texans are 2-13-1. They're headed to Indianapolis.
Not
the
going to
Colts
get over that 4 you predicted. They're not getting there.
Not getting there. Maybe I think I was probably a year early on that. Like I was a year early on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You want to make a little early bet? You want to make a little early bet for next year? Texans 4 wins over under.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll wait till after
I'm definitely
this.
taking the under on that.
The Colts are 4-11-1. So these two teams are a combined 6-24-2. So that's the Colts are favored by 2.5. The over/under is 37.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take the Texans, obviously, and I'm going to take the over 37.5.
You said I'm going to take the Texans, obviously.
I mean, that's one of my squads, right?
Man, this one is just what do we call this bowl? The toilet bowl? This is the toilet bowl right here. That's what this is right here. This is who's gonna have a worse record. I'm gonna go with the Colts in this one, man. I don't know. Jeff Saturday I know he won his debut. He hasn't won a game since, right?
I don't think so.
Man, that's tough. I'm gonna go with the Colts to get a victory here. They're favored by 2.5. I mean, this should just be a pick'em game. Both these teams are just god awful. I'm gonna go with the Colts.
I don't know how they're favored, to be perfectly honest with you.
I'm gonna go. They cover the 2.5. I'm gonna go 13-10 Colts. Take the under.
Up next, the Arizona Cardinals, a disappointing 4-12. They are headed to San Francisco. Shout out to the graphics department. I like this one too. The 49ers are 12-4. They are 14-point favorites. The over/under is 39.5. So that's basically saying Arizona's not going to do anything.
Right.
Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take the 49ers. They might not cover. They might end up resting their guys at the end of this game. And I'm going to take the over 39.5.
I'm going to take the over 39.5 myself. 14 points. I'm going to go with Corey Young's score. San Francisco wins this one 36-17. No cover.
Up next is the Dallas Cowgirls, who are 12-4. They are 7-point favorites.
First off, we ain't even going to disrespect not only them. Can't disrespect our females in the chat one time. These are the Dallas Cow something else, but they're not the Cowgirls. That'd be giving them a little bit of credit, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I got to give them dead flowers, right?
Well, we wouldn't show up with ladies if we was going to give them dead flowers, right? I pull up to the club and I got 4 with me. Am I doing you a gesture or is that doing you a disservice? I think I'd be doing you a gesture there, you know? So we got to go cow something else. Toys, something else.
Okay. The Dallas Cowboys, who are 12-4, they're 7-point favorites.
I like how you gave me your that's your what do they call what do they call them joints? Your Karen voice. That's the Karen voice.
They're headed to Washington to face the Commanders, who are trying to finish 500, a true 500 at 8-1.
Facts.
The over/under is 40 points. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I got Bob Blizzard said the cow bums, and LaMamba James said the cow babies. All right, I got the Cowboys in this game, man. I think the Cowboys gonna handle business, man. They're playing for a shot. It's gonna be a 4:00 game with the Giants and the Eagles, where they could possibly. What time is that San Francisco game? That San Francisco game's at 4:00 too.
Yep.
They put all those games at 4:00 for a reason.
They sure
Yeah,
did.
give me the Cowboys, man. I don't even got to look at the line. The Cowboys are they're gonna cover, and I'm taking the over. I don't care if the over was 58. I'm taking the Cowboys in this one.
I'm obviously going to take the Washington Commanders in this game. I think Sam Howell goes for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. We're going to go over 40, and Washington wins. What are you doing?
Looking up some statistics here. I'm curious as to what quarterbacks have debuted and threw for 300 yards. I know Cam Newton did it. Can you think of any others?
RG3 and Kirk Cousins, both in their NFL debuts, threw for over 300 yards.
Well, there you go. You got 2, and then you're on your 3rd roll here. But I'm going to say strike 3 for your boy Sam Howell. I'll give him. He said 300. You should have went over under 200. I ain't got no 300-yard offense. Watch it happen, though. I'm going to say Sam Howell, 18 of 27, 189 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. There you go. That's being generous, too.
Yeah, well, we appreciate your generosity, Authentic.
In a L, so don't get too happy.
Up next, the Los Angeles Bakers, who are 5-11, are headed to Seattle to face Geno Smith. The Seahawks are 8-8 in a must-win situation. They are 6-point favorites. The over/under is 41.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I'm about to toss this one over to you one time. It's time for you to pick one of these games.
Okay.
First. I already told y'all I'm taking LA in the upset, but
yeah, I am also going to take the Rams in an upset. Give me the Rams. At worst case scenario, give me the Rams to cover the 6. The over/under, I think we get over the 41.5.
It's interesting. Has Baker got any more magic to get them a W today? Seahawks, everything on the line. I'm gonna renege on this, bro. I'm taking the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are gonna win it, man. Are Seahawks in a win-and-in situation? Is that what it is?
No. The Seahawks have to win, and Green Bay has to lose.
And Green Bay got to lose. So if Green Bay and the Seahawks win, the Packers would get in.
Yep.
That sounds about right. I can still stick to the script because I think the Packers are going to get in, but I think the Seahawks should get this W, man. I think they're a better team. And if they're really a team that you want to call on the cusp of the playoffs, they should go here and handle business. It's at home. It's at home.
It is 12th man. We're gonna see. I don't know. I got this weird feeling about and then there's this whole weird thing too about Sean McVay and his tenure with the Rams being possibly over after this season. So
that'd be interesting. You ever seen a clip with Sean McVay where they were like the moment he knew Jared Goff wasn't a quarterback?
I don't think so.
Yo, you know how certain things just kind of creep you out. It's not supposed to. But it frightens you a little bit. It almost makes your hair stand up. They literally have the moment when he supposedly when he was done with Jared Goff, and he does the most sleazeball thing, bro. He's like, I like what you're doing there. You're doing a great job. Claps it up for him, taps him on the helmet, and as soon as Jared Goff turns his back to McVay, he turns and he makes this face, bro. That is the most evilest. I'm talking Chucky 2 Child's Play type of face. I will stab you with the longest knife in the back when you're not looking. It's just look it up. Look up the moment that Sean McVay knew Jared Goff wasn't a quarterback on YouTube. It's the weirdest thing. And you know what I don't like about Sean McVay? And I think he's a good coach. I really do. I'm not trying to shit on Sean McVay here. But you see these commercials going around where he's flying around the locker room or whatever. You see that latest commercial? I'm like, What other? Just imagine like seeing like Brian Dable in a commercial like that, dog. You're really worried about the brand and trying to get to the bag. I think that's kind of interesting. And another coach, we didn't talk about this during the Miami game, but they talking about McDaniels might be on his way out.
That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. And Lovie Smith too. What is Houston Texans are going to go back-to-back years with one and done coaches?
Yeah, and I forget the head coach that was over there before Lovie Smith, but he did a good job, I thought, man. What was his name? He was the coach that when they brought him in, Deshaun Watson was a little bit displeased with the pick and whatnot. I always want to say like Pep Hamilton, but it's not Pep. Pep's the OC over there.
I keep wanting to say Bernie Bickerstaff from. It was.
Name in 100.
It's David Culley.
David Culley, that's who it was. Yep.
My gosh. So they fired Bill O'Brien in 2020.
Rightfully so. He should have been fired the year before.
Romeo Crennel came in and finished that season off in 2020. Then they got rid of him, or I think he retired actually. And then David Culley 2021, and then Lovie Smith 2022. Jeez.
Culley did a better job than Lovie Smith, and Culley had Davis Mills looking a bit better. Now I'm not sold on Davis Mills no more. Davis Mills. You can't be an average pocket passer no more in this league. And I forget who it was that was saying this on one of their shows just recently, that Joe Burrow was the last one left. Joe Burrow is the last classic quarterback. Who was it that I was watching? I think it was last night they was talking about this. But talking about how Joe Burrow's like Joe Montana. You know, he's like the Joe Montana of this era, like kind of the shift is happening, and he's the last one left.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I think it's the defensive players are getting so much faster.
Yep.
That you can't be slow. You know what I'm saying? Unless you have like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady sort of offensive line protection.
But Aaron Rodgers is not. I don't put them two in the same boat because Aaron Rodgers can move.
He's decision maker. I'm not comparing them in that. I'm just saying like generally the pockets that they have from their offensive line has been historically crazy. Yeah.
This year I'd say for Aaron Rodgers, he's dealing with a little bit more pressure, but
he's both of them.
He knows how to maneuver, and Tom does too. He knows how to maneuver the pocket, but Aaron Rodgers will catch you slipping. Like you in man coverage, you turn your back to the quarterback, he's gonna get 8 to 10 yards on you and do a little cheap little slide,
Tom
get
Brady
back up, run back to the huddle.
That.
Brady ain't doing that. Brady slide, the knee brace come up all twisted and messed up. Yeah, Brady getting old, man. But Brady's still playing at a high level. I will give him that. Brady and Burrow are the last style quarterbacks like that, I'd say.
Brady's over under for rushing yards in every game is like 1 or 2 yards.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Up next,
Kai
ladies.
said Dak is a classic quarterback. Similar. But I think Dak has some running capabilities, but Dak is a guy that he lost some of the mobility when he broke the leg or whatnot, or was that yeah, he did break the leg. Yeah, that was Logan Ryan on the tackle when he broke that leg, and I feel like he's a little less mobile. But I mean, look at what the playoffs came down to last year with Dak Prescott. It came down to him running, and he did a good job. Just couldn't get up fast enough to spike that ball.
Ooh, this is an interesting one too. I don't know. T-Law he runs a little bit too, though.
Yeah, and he's quick at buying time. But the thing about Lawrence, the T-Law nickname don't fit well. That just doesn't fit well for him. But what I like about him is when he scrambles, he looks to throw. You know, that reminds me of early Russell Wilson. You know, once you maneuver the pocket, you sidestep. He's got great lateral movement. And then once he moves out of the pocket, he can look down the field and still make the throws, man. Lawrence is he's going to be a guy I think that'll be mentioned in that top 5 soon. Although that wide receiver core has definitely, I won't say overachieved, but they've played really well this year. I think
all 3 of them career highs. Evan Ingram, Zay Jones, and Christian Kirk all had career highs.
I still think they need to make a move at wide receiver. Like
they
Lawrence
did.
Again, I'm saying, like, go out there and get him like a true number 1. Because who's the number 1 over there? Christian Kirk?
Well,
Zay Jones? Those guys are number 1s.
They got Calvin Ridley at the trade deadline too.
He's another one of those guys that they already have. You know, and Calvin Ridley coming back after how long of not playing football?
A year.
Yeah, that's a long time. So what we think he's going to get right back to Calvin Ridley status right when he gets back on the field?
I'm not mad at Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, and Christian Kirk
I'm not mad at it at all, but I just think you need that guy. Y'all are going to deal with this problem if Terry McLaurin continues to get shut down in big games the way he does. where y'all going to need a real deal, either number 2 or number 1. I think the same thing with the Jaguars. Don't settle for just being good in the wide receiver room. And I'm speaking from a New York Giants perspective because I remember going into the 2021 season when we thought Kenny Galladay was going to be a number 1. We had Sterling Shepard on the roster. We had John Ross on the roster. They went out there. They got Kyle Rudolph as well. You still had Darius Slayton on the roster. And most of us walked into that season like, man, our wide receiver core is set. We got hella depth. We still had Dante Pettis on the roster. As soon as one guy gets hurt, that room is ruined. You need that real deal guy. I think the Seattle Seahawks, speaking to them, they're kind of dealing with it now. Tyler Lockett's getting a little bit older. DK Metcalf is not showing that he's a bona fide number 1 to me. You need to go out there and address that. Go out there and draft somebody that you might be able to hit on. And then you bring in a guy who's like let's say you hit and you bring in a Justin Jefferson or a Tyreek Hill. Then you can be contending to have one of those number 1 wide receiver cores in the league with a quarterback that no one's going to question. And then you can make a Super Bowl run. I don't think no one's thinking about the Jaguars right now making a Super Bowl run, and I think that's one of the reasons why. And also, James Robinson, I don't think that was a good idea to let him go, and trade him over to the Jets. Etienne's a good running back, but you saw it with the power. He gets dominated. You need to bring in a guy in there who can really be that 1-2 tandem with him. Who is the second running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Jermichael Hasties, and he's more of a quick guy too. He's not necessarily a power back at all either.
Yeah, NFL is shifting now, man. Like this isn't the years of where you just need one good wide receiver and a core of I almost wanted to compare it to the posse in a way, but y'all kind of had the formula early on with 2 guys that were like number 1s, because Gary Clark and Art Monk could both have been a number 1. Art Monk was aging a little bit, but they both could have been a number 1. You got to start looking at it like that. If you want to compete with the Tyreek Hills and the Jalen Waddles of the world and the Thielens and the Justin Jeffersons of the world and the A.J. Browns and the Devonta Smiths of the world, you better go out there and get some guys. I love Zay Jones. He showed up in a major way this year, but going into next year, I think teams are going to be a little bit more like on guard about that, knowing that he is a guy that can make some plays.
It'll be interesting to see if they move in that direction. It'll also be interesting to see how Calvin Ridley bounces back for sure. So, speaking of wide receivers, there's a lot of chat in the chat right now about a wide receiver in this
chat in the chat. Like
in this next game. The New York Football Giants, who are 9-6-1, they're headed to Philadelphia to face the Eagles, who are 13-3. The Eagles are now 16-point favorites. The over/under is 42 points. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But the only thing everybody wants to know is, does Kenny Galladay catch a touchdown today?
No. What will make us think that? Davis Webb?
I mean, I see a lot of people saying today is the day, Kenny Galladay.
Not today. It's not today. If Kenny Galladay gets a touchdown, the Giants are 1,000% going to win this game. He's got 10 targets on the season, 4 receptions, and 4 drops. That man is making a $72 million bag.
He's making
Kenny
that
Galladay. Awthentik and The Beard
Daniels.
could use a little loan here, man. You want a spot of some bread, some man, to upgrade what we're doing over here, man. Grab a spot where you can use it, man. They've been working their butt off all season, man. They deserve a race.
Oh, man. Unfortunately, I am going to have to take the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. Sorry, guys. It just makes sense. 16, though? Yeah, I'm going to say they cover the 16, and I'm going to take the over 42 points.
Look, I see bookend tackles in the chat one time. 2 years, no touchdown. And then he says, thief, if you gave it to me, I didn't steal it. Shout out to Dave Gettleman like the rest of y'all been doing on Twitter this week. Great contract there, buddy. I'm taking my New York Giants. What I look like last game of the season. I don't care who's out there. It could be me, the Beard, Entertainer, Bad Dog. We gonna win this game.
What's you got a final score on this one?
I'm gonna go 19-16 Giants.
Ooh, low scoring game. All right. So interesting enough, there's a lot of movement going on in this game in the bettings as far as player props. So it'll be interesting to see if and how many targets, catches, and yards Kenny Galladay does get in this game. It's a very popular topic of discussion. Up next, the Los Angeles Chargers. Have we confirmed that Chase Daniels is the backup? Is it Chase Daniels or Easton Sticks? We're not sure, but it's not Justin Herbert. They're headed to Denver to face the Broncos, who are 4-12. The Broncos are favored by 3. Over-under is 39.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I guess I'm going to take the... Man, if the Broncos lose, if the Broncos start everybody and then lose to the Chargers, maybe Russell Wilson probably doesn't play in this game. I'm going to take the Chargers to win this game, and I'm going to take the under 39.5.
I'm right there with you. I'm taking the Chargers in this game, man. I think coaching could be the difference, even though the Chargers have been struggling this year. Broncos coaching offensively has been completely awful. So I'm going to go with the Chargers. It is Chase Daniels who is the backup. I mean, it should be. He's making $2 million over there for the past 2 seasons, so it should be him over there.
The Broncos have been granted permission, and the Broncos and the Saints are working on a possible deal for Sean Payton to become their next head coach, which I don't know. I guess they have to
trade, right? Don't they still?
I think they have to give some sort of compensation, I believe, to the Saints for that to happen.
Says explain the Kenny Galladay debacle situation here. There's no explanation for it. I don't know what it is, and they didn't give him an opportunity this year to really get a rhythm. You heard it earlier, man. 10 targets. Something ain't right, and maybe they're just like Brian Dable, Joe Shane, and Mike Kafka. They're all very good at not letting the cat out the bag when it comes to information. Wink Martindale, he's probably the one who's a little bit more transparent on the defensive side of the ball, but I think something's going on with Kenny Galladay because they did utilize him a little bit at the beginning of the season. He ended up getting hurt on a running play where he was down the field blocking. He got trampled. I forget what game that was. I think that maybe Dave Gettleman signed him and there was still some issues with the hip. I don't know, man. I really don't know. Kenny Galladay in 2019 was a really good wide receiver. Wish the best for him. It doesn't look like he's going to be a New York Giant next year, but it's unfortunate it didn't work out because I was ecstatic when we signed Kenny Galladay. I'm like, we got Daniel Jones, his guy. We can go into 2021. We drafted Kadarius Toney. I thought everything was going to move. And Kenny Galladay's body language and demeanor told me he was healthy, especially at that Washington game. I don't know what's going on, man. I hope one day we can figure it out. I don't know what's going on, though. And the other thing, too, to consider is that it's weird. As I'm saying this, I'm thinking about Isaiah Hodgins, that Kenny Galladay doesn't really fit within this offense that much. And I guess it's because he's a kind of wide receiver that doesn't create much separation, and the Giants really can't afford to just be throwing up 50-50 passes. You haven't seen many of those this year at all. So they're trying to keep Daniel Jones clean, not turning the ball over, and maybe Kenny Galladay's style of play just don't fit. But I don't know what it is. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but we're definitely going to find out more moving forward once the season wraps up, I would imagine. But last game on the slate for all the marbles is the Detroit Lions, who are 8-8. They're headed to Lambeau, face the Packers, who are also 8-8. Packers are 5-point favorites. Over-under is 49. Everything on the line. Kickoff is at 8:20, not 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I could have just said that and it would have rhymed. I'm going to take...
You rhymed when you said talk about rhyme. 29, 999.
I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers. I think this is going to be an absolutely amazing game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to take the Lions to cover the 5 points, Packers to win, and I'm going to take the over 49.
Yeah, I'm taking the over 49 as well. I think the Packers are going to cover. I don't actually see this being that close of a game. Packers just got to handle business early on. Get out to a 2-score lead in that first quarter. This will be an easy game for them. I'm going to take the Packers in this one by 2 scores, and I'm going to take that over 49 one time, and we'll see the Packers in the playoffs.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the final regular season edition of Rapid Fire. I want to thank you guys for being part of the Rapid Fire. It's been awesome as this show has gone on this season. We've gotten more and more interaction as we go through each one of these games. We always like it when we got interaction with everybody here in the chat. Our Awthentik and The Beard family. I mean, to see us at 64 people on a week 18 where the Commanders are out of it starting Howe and the Giants are resting their players, getting ready for the playoffs starting Davis Webb.
I don't care.
My hands slipped, dog.
Jared McDonald wants to know Christian Watson or Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. More volume. Easy for me, actually. He's going for a big record here. They're going to try to get him that record. I mean, if I'm coach, we targeting you 14, 15 times in this game.
Yeah, the only problem is if at what point do they take him out of the game?
The point when he breaks the record. And they got the lead. I'd say about third quarter.
I mean, I think you have to go Justin Jefferson, but I would not be mad about playing Christian Watson. The problem is, Awthentik said the volume, obviously. Christian Watson has been a guy who hasn't necessarily been a big volume guy since he's broke off. He's been a big play guy, but not necessarily a big volume guy yet at this point in his career. But I don't think you can necessarily go wrong either way. Obviously, that Detroit Lions defense is a little sketch. But I probably would lean towards Justin Jefferson. But
yeah,
monitor
I really think
it.
you could go wrong with Christian Watson. I really do.
He's been banged up a little bit the last couple of weeks.
And considering what he put up last week, too, one reception for 11 yards, that could go extremely wrong. Justin Jefferson is probably the best wide receiver in the league. Not in my opinion. I think he's the number 2. I like Devontae Adams. I think Devontae Adams is still the best wide receiver in the league. But statistically, it's Justin Jefferson. Why would we put a top 3 wide receiver on the bench for a guy who's pretty much a wide receiver 2 fantasy-wise, I'd say. He's had a good year, but Christian Watson has not had a 100-yard game since the end of November. So even in every 100-yard game he had this season, he did not breach 4 receptions. His stats are actually crazy. I got him right in front of me. He has not gone over 6 receptions all year long.
Yeah.
In one game against the Dolphins, which was December 25th, he had 6 receptions. Outside of that game, he hasn't breached 4 receptions all year long. You got to go Justin Jefferson. And if it fails, it fails. Die on Justin Jefferson. He's the best wide receiver in the league. I'll give him.
I think that's
1A, 1B.
That's the great point right there. Like, if you have to die on that hill, you can't get cute in the championship.
No way. Absolutely not.
Can't get cute.
And then I don't want you coming back saying the Awthentik and The Beard, they financially advised me to start Christian Watson, and it just went completely wrong. I lost my fantasy championship. I unsubscribed immediately, and they're the worst television show not on TV. They deserve to not be on TV. Yeah, we can't have that, dog. We cannot have that.
Oh, man. Oh, big shout out to our guy, Tuto
in the building was popping.
Put a $4.99 super chat. Says massive salute and respect from all of us. Almost 200 badass Italian rugby players from Italy in the city of Philly to Awthentik and The Beard. And all Giants fans, salute Italy. Hey, stay safe out there, Tuto. And in obvious respects to Tudo himself, even though he didn't put it in there, I feel like I have to add it to it. Don't forget to slap all stinky Boyd's losers out of the front door.
Big facts, man. Big shout out to Tudo, and I like the way he spelled badass. He spelled it like the rapper Badass from the West Coast. Rest in peace to one of the legends one time, man. Shout out to Tudo, man. Enjoy yourself at the game. Unless we getting blown out, like I told you a couple episodes ago. You and the 200 rugby gangsters out there one time. Y'all don't start no trouble until the fourth quarter. Make sure we got the game in hand, or make sure the game is out of reach. One of the two.
And maybe you go down to the sideline and say, "Hey, coach, we got this."
Yeah, we might need. I mean, maybe that's why maybe the 200 rugby players he's talking about is really the New York Giants, and Tudo is Kayvon Thibodeau. Maybe that's the case.
There it is. Big shout out to everybody. This has been an absolutely awesome 18 weeks. Obviously, we're going to be doing a little bit of reconstructing, giving the playoff schedule. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. You might get some more parlays. We might, we're gonna obviously play things by ear, wait and see what the playoff schedule, what teams are gonna be playing in what slots on what days, moving forward. Because obviously, it's gonna be a big, important direction of content for us with the New York Giants, depending upon when and where they will be playing.
I mean, once we, make this Super Bowl run here, I mean, this channel's gonna just boom. It's just gonna boom. Yeah, his beard didn't like that.
Hey, listen, it's great for business, bro. So, shout out to the Awthentik and The Beard family. Go blue, as you guys say.
Like, it's almost like you didn't want to say Giants. She blue.
Oh, my back. Oh.
That's the kind of pain where you sneeze.
Yeah.
Can't do nothing all day. That's like when you go out and you try to do some physical activities after you ain't done nothing in about like 3 years and you so sore you can't laugh, can't do nothing. That's going to be me when I get back out there. But, hey, it's time, bro. It's time to get the gang back. You tell Josie. It's time to get the gang back and go make a run for this chip, man. I'm missing football. We need to play some football.
Spring League?
Spring League. It's time. Doug said he's down already. I know Josie's gangster. I talked to Zach the other day. I was playing some Apex Legends with him, man. Him and Maggie are doing well out there. It would be great to have them back out here to be on the squad because Maggie.
Where are they at
Josie,
now? Cali?
I think they're still in Portland. I think.
Oh.
But Maggie and Josie was, man. We used to run that mesh concept. Whoo, buddy.
I
Shout out to Monique too. Monique was on that squad too.
I had to test Josie the other day about the mesh concept.
She still remembered, right? Oh, we drilled
remembered
the mesh concept in Josie's mind. She know about that mesh concept. I'm taking Josie over you these days, for sure.
You know what? It's authentic.
I'll just keep it funky with you.
In pure authentic fashion.
I'm taking, you get to picking at the park, it's about 6-on-6, 7-on-7. I'm taking Josie in that second round, man.
Miles Sanders or Algier for the flex start.
Today, I'm going but Atlanta might put up a good fight today. I'm still going Miles Sanders. Jalen Hurts back in the lineup.
I'm going to go Miles Sanders. Kai, this is a good question. I tried to watch the USFL last year. I thought it was an interesting concept, the way that they had everything planned out. And I thought the football was actually pretty good in the beginning and in the end, but a lot of duds in the middle of that season. XFL is exciting. And I will hopefully we can get together. I still have my Defenders shields in my closet. Yep. So hopefully we can make it to XFL game. Because
you know what they need to do with both those leagues? They need to brand. They need to like take the marketing and branding and put it around the stars because there's no identity when it comes to the players when you look at both those leagues. They just need to take the 2-3 best dudes from the league and do a whole campaign of marketing around them. But I'm going to tell you what league people need to keep their eye out for. That LFL, the female league, you seen that?
The lingerie football league?
They're not in lingerie no more. They wear regular hockey helmets now, but it's still like a regular uniform. Yo, dog. It reminded me when we were talking about like Josie and Maggie playing in our league. These girls are really good at football, dog. Like, they would dog us, bro. I'm going to keep it funky with you. Like, I'm looking at some of these quarterbacks. They got the whole little wristband with the flap and whatnot, dog. They're doing damage out there, man. I went to a deep dive on YouTube looking up, like, a bunch of different players in that league, and I'm just like, this is wild. Like, this ain't just for no show. This is like they are cracking skulls in that league, and I don't know how I feel about that because it is, you don't want to see the females cracking skulls, but it's high-level competition, man. I think, like, dare I say, they should have better TV ratings than both those leagues, the USFL and the XFL.
Washington has actually their women, the WNFL, I think is what it's called,
is
or
there
the
WNFL?
It's either WNFL or WFL. But Washington has a really good team. They have had a really good team in years past.
So there's another league outside of that LFL league too.
It's a full contact women's football league.
Oh, the LFL is.
No, but I mean, like, like face mat, like it's the same as the NFL. And so the general manager, is it the general manager or the coach? I can't remember. He used to get his hair did at Hugo Salon.
His hair did.
Hey, I gotta give a big shout out to D Saturday White because
Penny logo.
Yeah, that's
fire.
our guy. That's
Shout
our
out
guy.
Penny.
Shout out Penny.
I got to get back on the court, too. It's been a while. It's been a long while. I went out there and ran with the boys on Monday a little while back, like probably about a year ago now.
I remember you telling me.
Yeah, and the competition raised out there, man. They got some more ballers out there. I was like, I ain't cut out yet. I got to get back in shape before I get out there, man. Like, that was the number one thing, was running up and down the court. And the court's still slippery, man. These dusty-ass gyms they be putting us in, bro. It's not the vibes, man. They paying for that. I'm going to have to send a complaint to the maintenance department for these floors, because the way my sneakers is cut out these days, I could not get no grip on that floor. And you know that's my game. Like, my game is trying to beat you with the first step. And it's like, when the floor is dusty, bro, come on. You got an advantage out here. I got some dudes that would never cook me on concrete cooking me out there.
It ain't the same as the blacktop, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not. Or a good gym. Man, clean them floors.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to wish everybody the best of luck today. Whether your team is fighting for a playoff spot, resting their starters, and pride is on the line.
That reminds me of that crazy-ass graphic meme you sent me with Lamar Jackson as a female and had Mike Glennon on that show. That show was crazy. That graphic was crazy.
That one was fantastic, but
that joint was crazy. Lamar Jackson was looking like a shorty from like my middle school days or something, yo. That joint was crazy. That was crazy, bro.
Oh man! Congratulations to everybody who has won already. Congratulations to everybody who's trying to win. Good luck, fantasy. Good luck, your team. Whether you're rooting for a draft position or pride is on the line. Hopefully you get the wins that you are looking for on week 18. We want to thank you guys as always. Don't forget, Monday, giant overreaction moving into the playoffs. I feel like that's kind of a must, right?
Number one question going to be, should Davis Webb get to start in the first round?
Oh, man. So, yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned for giant overreaction on Monday and our weekly recap Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to let Awthentik. I already see you guys. We don't even have to ask you guys anymore. Dropping the biceps in the chat. Shout out to the chat. You guys kicked butt today.
Big shout out to the gang, man. Shout out to the family in the building one time. Y'all know what it is, man. Keep living those dreams. Keep raising that bar, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Big shout out to the podcast GOAT, Combat Jack. Rest in peace one time. Y'all know what it is. Enjoy your football today. Go Giants. Best of luck to my brothers Commanders one time. But the Cowboys are going to put the leash around Sam Howell and take him for a walk. Y'all be good, man. We'll see y'all on Monday and on Tuesday for the recap of Week 18, our last recap of the season. I can't believe we're here already at Week 18, man. It's been a blessed season. We definitely appreciate all of y'all. And I want to end the show on another positive note. DeMar Hamlin out here tweeting. It's amazing, man. God is good, man. Y'all be good. Enjoy y'all football. Peace.
Peace.